It's 7 too.
Go. Good evening. It's 7 o'clock. I'd like to call the August 8, 2017 College Place City Council meeting to order. Mr. Bobbitt, would you please say a prayer and a pledge of allegiance, please?
Our kind Father, tonight we want to pause and thank you for putting us all here together. We invite your presence here now as we go about making decisions for our fair city. Be with us tonight, we pray in Jesus' name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It is now our public comment period. Anybody wishing to address the College Place City Council, please step forward and state your name and address. I will make a note that we do have a public hearing on an annexation, and I would ask you withhold your comments on annexation until that public hearing. But anybody else wishing to address the College Place City Council, please step forward and state your name and address. Once again, anybody wishing to address the College Place City Council, please state your name and address. And one final time, anybody wishing to address the College Place City Council, please step forward, state your name and address. Seeing no one, we have a consent agenda before us. Approval of this evening's agenda, approved City Council minutes of July 25th, 2017, the check register and financials for June 2017, and our consent agenda.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
It's been moved to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second. No, Marge beat me.
Ms. Sherman moved. Ms. Hagen seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. We do have a tenure pin presentation this evening. Ms. Barr, would you please come forward? So, Mary Ann Barr, I'll turn on the audience. Mary has been with us for 10 years as our clerk and the administrative lead in the police department. She's done an absolutely fabulous job. Thank you so very much for your service. Got it? And the pin. Thank you so very much. Mr. Gordon, our engineering intern progress and appreciation report.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to take a few minutes this council meeting to introduce our summer intern this year. This is Isaac Fisher. He hails from the University of Idaho. He, and correct me if I'm wrong, we're looking at graduating with a mechanical engineering degree in October next year.
Yep.
So he's been here for the last few weeks. It's been a short term. We actually began interviews back at, I think it was June 20th or so forward. Had a good group of folks come forward, but Isaac's background in terms of GIS kind of borrowed with the cert top. And so we selected him. He showed up July 3rd, day before the 4th, and reported for work, and he's gone August 18th. So we only have him here for a little bit. I just want to thank him for his work while he's been here. It's already substantial. And we're going to show you a little bit of that right now. The intent is really to not only just thank Isaac, because to be honest, we put him in the cinder block holding room just off to the side. There's no flooring, there's no door. There's very little in the way of decoration except for old leftover shelving. But he comes to work nevertheless with a big smile on his face, eager to get to work. So we want to thank you for that and appreciate it. So that said, we're going to flick through this very quickly. One of the things that we're trying to do here at the city, and we have Mike to thank for most of this. If you remember back in May 9th council meeting, you folks approved our membership with the AWC GIS Consortium.
AWC GIS?
Yes. Okay, so that means the Association of Washington Cities Geographic Information System. For those of us who live by acronyms, my apologies, okay? So, AWC GIS. So we're going to flash through a number of the things that we can do with GIS, just give you a quick view. This is not, everything is not entirely intact or in place, but we've got a good start on it. Isaac's been a big part of that. Some of this we pulled over from the county system. What we're doing is we're moving everything from the county, which has been wonderful the last few years, but we're kind of outgrowing that, moving it locally to our own servers, working with it here in-house, and then we're publishing it out to a website which allows us then to share it to the world. So what you're going to see is a work in progress. So Isaac, if you wouldn't mind flipping through this, these are just some of the things. This is really the same thing as the sheet of paper that you have with the ideas on it that came as a part of the packet. But in terms of citizen engagement, GIS allows us to connect with citizens, manage community events. We can promote public parking for events in terms of where people want to go, kind of on the fly. In terms of land records, photo inventory properties, so if we have properties out there we'd like to market, we can have photos associated with them. We can show the values of those properties. We can manage the address information for across the whole city. And then, of course, we link into the county parcel database, so we have information right at our fingertips in terms of the assessor's office. Utilities, we show our water system. We show our stormwater, 2B, stormwater system. We have a few lines now, but as you know, we're going into a stormwater utility, and that'll become very important, and then also our sewer collection systems. In terms of public works, it'll help us maintain our public road network. If you know, we have that 6-year transportation improvement plan that we do every year. That will be on GIS. In fact, we've already got it in there now. So we're making that transition. We inventory our right-of-way assets, including our ADA ramps and our stop signs and our parking signs and all the rest. We're hopeful we're going to be able to get our franchise utility information on there, our power poles and the like. Go ahead. Communicate road closures to the public, so when we do have a road that's being used for an event or work, we can let them know. Manage snow conditions, which is not a problem this time of year. Fire and law enforcement, fire incident maps are a possibility. Pre-incident plans, planning ahead, inspecting fire hydrants. Emergency maps, crime prediction, tactical plans, and even analyzing cell phone data. Those are all options. If we don't have those in place, these are things that we're thinking about being able to have. Planning and development, promoting vibrant economies. This is a big one for us because we want to be able to promote our community in terms of development coming in, and the interface between our website and this GIS system is going to be critical. Go ahead. Notifying property owners of development, code violations, site plan reviews, and project tracking. And then one that's probably near and dear to your heart, locating voting centers and polling places, and finding you folks, okay? So we could have that kind of information on the GIS system as well, in case people are interested, who their rep was, who they need to contact, we could have it there. Okay. Environmental, soils data, burn control zones, geological features. On the human health services side, homelessness, we could identify areas where we have concerns with that. Transportation hazards, and that's just kind of a plethora of things that we can look at using GIS. So I'm sure some ideas will come up with you that you folks have as well, that we can incorporate over time. This is not a finished product, and it's in process right now. And what I'd like to do, just in closing, is I'd like to have Isaac kind of pick out some of the maps that we've created. What these are just maps with settings. It's the same system. We publish this out, and we can actually link to this from our website. Okay? So this means that we can make this available to anybody out there at any time, as long as they have access to our website. And actually, we can send it as a link to them in an email if we want and want to share it. So that's pretty valuable. Go ahead and click on one of those. We'll go through these quickly. I know we have a full agenda tonight. So, for example, I think this was the water. That's the water. So you can see, if you hit the legend there on the side, folks can actually go in here and develop the maps themselves and add layers and kind of play with it a little bit, depending on what we've opened up to them. So here's our water system. Now we go to the next one.
Sewer system.
Is it sewer? Okay.
Yeah.
Water and sewer.
It's got both on there.
It's got both. Okay. And then this one here, we're kind of stealing Mike's thunder a little bit because we'll be talking about wayfinding. Okay. Do you mind if we open that up? Let's go ahead and open that one up. That'll be later on the agenda tonight. But if you notice the little red dots are locations for signs, and you'll notice the kinds of signs that are being proposed, the directional indicators for those signs. So that's on our GIS system. This is really a dumping ground for all our data. Anything that has any geographic connection to it, we can put on the system. Why don't we go to the next one? Which one was this?
This is bike lanes?
Bike lanes. We're going through a process right now defining where we're going to have new bike lanes, the types of bike lanes. If you hit the legend again, you'll show them, again, those are different types of bike facilities that we're planning on. This went to the MPO last week, no, week before last. Okay. We've got street curbs. This is important for our stormwater planning. If you recall, when you put curbs into a road, it collects stormwater. No longer goes to the properties of the side. You got to do something with that water. So we inventory that. And Isaac was responsible for doing that as a part of his work here. Okay, we also have, we'll just go through, let's skip center lines. It's really just a street database that has our 6-year tip. The parcels is from the county. City boundaries, that's kind of a given. Let's show them the building footprints. This again is something that we related to our storm facility, our stormwater planning. As those come up, there's quite a few of them. What Isaac did is he went through and he traced every one of your houses. Every one of them, the line. Because we need to find out what the impervious area is. Because down the road, we anticipate with rates will be related to how much water you're shedding into the public right away that we have to deal with. So that's another part of what he's done. So why don't we go to the next one?
Unbelievably tedious.
And it's a little overwhelming, but that's kind of the idea, is to overwhelm you with data right now so you get a sense of what we can do. These are parks in the area with the blue being public, and the red, that's in City Wall over there, of course. And we also have the red being private institutions with large green spaces. Okay. And let's see, let's look at right-of-way assets. At some point, we probably have to do an ADA inventory for our city. So little blue dots represent, this is again, work in progress, ADA ramps that we have completed in the city. Little red dots are stop signs, so we're starting to develop that data. Why don't we go to the next one? This one here is kind of interesting. This is your leaf yard debris pickup schedule, so people can tell when people are going to come by and when they're going to get stuff picked up. I suppose we do the same thing for snow plowing, except for the only disadvantage of this is if you tell people you're going to do it on that day, you better do it on that day. So there's some negatives if we can't get to it in time.
Street sweeping.
Street sweeping, yeah, same thing. So all those are possibilities. And then we have wells and water depths. Click on that one just for fun. This is actually data that we pulled in out of ecology, and we can do that. If agencies have GIS data, we can just suck it right into our system and use it. And that's what we did here. So I had Isaac go through and tell us the red being deeper wells where the water's deeper, and the blue being shallower wells where, not shallower, but wells that had higher water levels. It kind of gives us an idea of where aquifer bubbles are. Pretty valuable. Okay, let's go to the final one there. I'm not sure we want to even look at that one, but it is, that's just a zoning map. Go and click on that. So again, there's our zoning maps. You've seen those before. That's now on our internal system located here at the city. Again, this data is being published out to another site and being made available publicly for public use. So just want to give you that as an intro. This is kind of a leap and a jump for the city in terms of its data management. It's going to be a long process as we go through it, but we've got a good start. And in no small part due to Isaac's efforts. And again, I just want to thank him and appreciate his efforts here. He will not be here at the next meeting because he will be gone, because it's only been a short 7 weeks. So thank you very much, Isaac.
Yes.
Chief Damaris.
Good evening. So it's my privilege tonight to again award the recipient of the Yard of the Month. As you know, the City of College Place adopted the Yard of the Month program to be awarded during the months of June, July, August, and September, and also for decorations, for seasonal decorations in December. And for the July Yard of the Month, the recipients are the Johnson family, and they've lived in College Place for 27 years, and their address is 1105 Colonial, and they've just done a fantastic job in their yard. And I think you're looking for a photo.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay. he was just really excited to receive the award and be honored, and it was just really fun to deliver it. And then I went and picked up the sign from the last recipient, and they were a little upset that I took the sign. So very cool. And let's see here. There it is. So there we go. So again, just really, and the cool thing about this one too is they were nominated by someone in the community that enjoys their yard, and it was just really great. So it's a unanimous decision on the committee. So very cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Isabello.
Thank you, Mayor. So with us tonight, we have Cheyenne Robinson. She's our account executive from Buxton Analytics. As you all may recall, a couple of months ago, City Council opted to enter a contract with Buxton to help us with retail recruitment and data analytics. So with that, I will turn it over to Cheyenne to discuss what we've been up to.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, City Council. It's a pleasure to be here in College Place. As Mike had mentioned, I'm Cheyenne Robinson. I'm your day-to-day account executive and point of contact with Buxton. It's been a pleasure working with you guys over the past several months. As you know, you partnered with us in February into a long-term partnership to understand all the economic conditions that are present and to seek an actual program to recruit new retail and retain existing businesses that are here. But what I'm going to be taking a look at today is an executive summary of our findings. We'll take a look first at our retail background, why you partnered with us in the first place, how we're able to leverage our background in the retail industry to take a proprietary approach, look at your market from the lens of the retailer, and identify all the conditions that are present, and who are the retailers that we should be focused on in College Place, because they like to locate around the type of consumers that you have, and your consumers actually prefer those brands as well. So we'll be taking a look at the categories of retail that we have identified throughout our analysis. We are going to keep those names confidential to give you that competitive advantage. But not only do you have a list of retail matches that are fit for your trade area, but Mike also has access to all of the validation for each of those companies. And we've been actively working with you throughout implementation as we're essentially serving as an extension of your economic development team for retail and retention success here in College Place. So at an overall level, we're understanding who are your citizens as consumers, where are those best consumers found, and what's the value of those consumers. So what's the value to existing businesses? What is the value to potential businesses that are going to help increase your tax revenue and improve the quality of life? So let's first take a look at an overall level at why you partner with us in the first place. So our industry lies in retail. All the logos that you're seeing here have had a strategic partnership with Buxton, and site selection and market optimization from grocery outlet to Trader Joe's to Sally Beauty. We're working with our retail clients to help them understand who are their best customers, where are their best customers found, and what is the value to their brand so they can increase home run stores and decrease being a low performer in the marketplace. To give you a sense of our footprint in the industry, over the past 12 months, we've analyzed over 80,000 retail sites. Out of those 80,000 retail sites, 7,500 new stores opened. And we've estimated that out of around 32,500 new stores in that same 12 months that opened, Buxton's Analytics had a direct impact on 25% of the retail openings. So not only does that tell you that it's competitive, but retailers are looking at anywhere from 10 to 15 locations before they narrow it down to that one site. So that's why we realized 13 years ago it's important that we also take a data-driven drive on the public sector so that our city government and municipality clients can take a proactive approach to recruiting retail into their community. Now, over the past 13 years, we've helped recruit and retain over 35 million square feet of retail. Working with clients from the size of a College Place to Kent, Washington, helping them grow by understanding their best customers and the value to their city and potential retailers. So let's take a look overall at College Place. It's great to know basic demographics. We know that you guys have a population of around 9,400. We know that 25% of the population are under the age of 18. But for a retailer, this isn't actual information for them. They have to know who are the consumers and potential shoppers for their potential location. So we get beyond political boundaries. You have a potential trade area population of over 62,000 customers for a retailer. And when we're looking at your trade area, it's not just what is the age, income. You have to know who are they as customers. So we look at unique customer types, which I'll dive into each of these details here shortly. But out of 71 different groups that we evaluate, 5 make up 47% of the consumers here within your College Place's trade area. Now, when we're taking a look at the dollars that are leaving your community that you can capitalize on to cut that leakage, there's over $110 million that leave the 20-minute trade area for College Place. Now, some of the areas of leakage that you guys are experiencing, so those dollars that are leaving the community in the area are highest in clothing and food service, so whether it be sit-down restaurants or fast food and furniture. So let's take a look and further at how we're able to allow you to think like a retailer. So looking at that same perspective of how retailers evaluate the market and the business opportunities that are here. So first, it's looking at who are your consumers. These two households, Ben and Tom, they look the same. They're identical when we're looking at demographics, so same age, same marital status, same income. But when we look at them as customers, Tom has one child, he's a Netflix subscriber, whereas Ben has 3 children and he prefers going to the movie theaters. Now, if I'm a movie theater, I want more Tom Kings around that potential location versus Ben, who's going to enjoy a show at the luxury of his home and watch Netflix with his one child. I want Tom because he's going to bring in his 3 children and enjoy a show at my movie theater. Now, one component that goes into this is also life stage. So, for instance, a few weeks ago, I went to Mexico City. Now, I don't have children in the household, so I can just get up and have that convenience, whereas my colleagues, they have 2 children in the household, and they have to do more planning when it comes to doing vacation time. So, if we're looking at, from a tourism perspective, it's going to be unique into the life stages of who that best customer is going to be. So we're evaluating that. Now, the key consumers for College Place, these 5 make up around 47% of your trade area. So you have a mix of your baby boomers who are more liberal, they like bird watching. You have those stable middle 6 seniors that are enjoying bingo, they're more religious. If you're going to reach those households and want them to shop in your store, they prefer to be reached through direct mail versus a digital channel. Now, you have those larger families as well that are enjoying tailgating, that like to do their reading on their Kindle, which I saw a lot of these households coming in on the flight into Honolulu. And you have a mix of those households that are your older middle class, that are blue-collar jobs, and they prefer to buy American and they like to go fishing. Whereas there's also a mix of those younger households that are under 35, more digitally driven, that like to go jogging, and they're online over 25 times per week. So once we understood who your consumer was, we had to take a look at where are those best households. We see that for College Place, that most sustainable consumer base for retailers within 20 minutes of your city. Now, the reason that we're measuring that distance in minutes is because as consumers, we think in convenience. So how quickly can you grab milk and eggs at the grocery store? How fast is it to fill up at the gas station? And this is how retailers are evaluating the area as well. Now, while we know that Dayton comes in and is doing their shopping within the area, from a retailer's perspective, they care more about who's closest in proximity to that potential location. And so in 20 minutes, there's a potential of over 62,000 consumers for that retailer. And that's really where they care most about, is that heart of the day in out sustainable customer base. Now, there are those what else conditions that are also important that we have to understand for college life. So things like the competitive presence, knowing you have a high leakage in clothing and in dining, for instance. Taking a look at the existing businesses and seeing what retailers like to locate around them. So from Home Depot to Walmart to Del Taco. And also looking at the area draw. So what's increasing foot traffic? So Walla Walla University, for instance. We also have to take a look at the accessibility. So how easy is it to get there? Knowing you have over 13,000 average traffic volumes on 125. So by taking a look at all of these characteristics, we then evaluate the thousands of retailers that are out there and identify where is most sustainable for our efforts and resources in College Place to be focused on new business attraction initiatives. Now, all of our insights are deployed and online through our analytics tool, which we call Scout. Both your city administrator, Mike, and your planning director, John, have access to this tool, to where you can dive in, see the retailers that we've identified that are the best fit for your market, but also have insights for existing businesses as well. So if you're an existing business and you want to take a look at your trade area, the profile of your consumers, that capability is accessible through Scout. You can also have understanding from basic demographics to what are the propensity for different merchandise items for shelf allocation. So do the households within the College Place trade area prefer Pepsi over Coke products, Huggies or Lux? That type of information is available to help your existing businesses grow and be more strategic about their shelf allocation and also marketing efforts. So you can even take a look at what are the music preferences if they're trying to understand what type of music should they be playing in their stores. Now, how all of this comes together in our findings by understanding your consumers, knowing where they're located and all the existing retail market conditions, is to understand who are the strongest retail matches for College Place. Now, I mentioned earlier, we are keeping those names confidential to give you a competitive advantage, but I will be sharing with you here shortly some of those conversations that have been had and that are currently taking place with these retailers. Now, many of these actually align with the recent economic development survey as well. So also validating those results that it's what your citizens are asking for as well. The retailers we've identified range from dining options to furniture to coffee shops and grocery. So overall, we started our partnership in February. The first 30 days or so, we're uncovering who are your consumers, who are the best retailers that are fit for the trade area of College Place. And then we created all the validations. So what you need to communicate to that real estate decision maker as to why they should be considering a location in College Place. So leveraging our expertise, knowing what retailers are evaluating, and putting everything together to tell that story of why they should be considering an expansion here. So that information was provided in April. We sent the initial engagement letter to kick that introduction off at that time as well. But our services we don't end there. It is a partnership truly, so we're here serving as an extension of your staff, evolving our strategy ongoing, providing additional research as needed as well. Because this is a process, it's not an event. Most retailers plan their sites 18 to 24, sometimes even 36 months out in advance. So we're working with you ongoing to make sure that we're on track and focus on the right retail targets for College Place. Now, where are we in those conversations to date? We've identified 20 retail matches. And at that time, we identified those and provided the implementation materials in around April. That was around the time of the ICSC conference, the retail conference in Las Vegas. So Mike was able to leverage that information and secure several meetings out of the show. But since has continued that persistence and getting in front of each of these companies. So taking a look at some key insights in the dining retailers that we've identified. So there were around 3 meetings scheduled at ICSC. Since some of
Ms.
those...
Robinson, what does ICSC stand for?
It's the International Conference of Shopping Centers. So that conference will have, in May there was 38,000 attendees. It ranged from developers, brokers, cities, retailers, all there. Retailers and developers are there to close about a year's worth of business in 3 days. And cities are there to get in front of them, to be getting on their radar to make so that they're in that process of looking at their city to close deals in the future. Great question. So Mike had several meetings with retailers out at that show. Several of those were dining, which have expressed interest since that has resulted in a site visit. So we're actually coming out to look at opportunities here. Several are still evaluating the market also. One currently working with a franchisee to show them the opportunity here. So corporate is very interested in a location and now working through that franchisee to showcase the opportunity to that individual. There have been some that have expressed you're on more of that longer term plan. So one casual dining concept is opening a location within the Tri-Cities area. And they have said that they want to evaluate themselves, how that location is doing, and then likely within about 12 months or so, take another look at a location in College Place. There has been another dining concept, which is a very highly desirable one that's requested by a lot of our clients and communities. They have said that they are interested in the area, but it's going to be much longer term for them. And then taking a look at the grocery category. This has been an area that you've had a lot of success with interest and various sites within the community that are continuing to be evaluated. And you've also had site visits from grocers as well that are looking at the opportunity. And 2 coffee shops are also interested in coming in. So they're looking at multiple sites and continuing to evaluate the area. One is a corporate concept and one is a franchise. So the franchise is working with that area franchisee to get them engaged and interested as well. Now, not listed here is a furniture retailer that Mike has been actually leveraging our information and engaging with, and that is currently reviewing the opportunity here as well. But that conversation has been started by leveraging our validation and the insights that we have provided. So overall, 75% of the retailers that we've evaluated have responded. Of that 75%, of the 20 retailers we've identified, 33% have expressed interest. Now, while that is important and significant, is because we're only 4 months into implementation. I mentioned we just started in April, and 33% of those companies showing interest is a very large amount of interest for College Place. Like I mentioned earlier, this process is very long-term, so having that initial success and engagement in just the first 4 months is extremely promising and encouraging what the months to come hold for your city. Now,
Ms. Robinson,
Quick question. And I understand your statement that this is an initial results and we're only 4 months into this. And one of the categories here, large footprint stores, those obviously are a longer time frame out. So in other words, we've got dining, grocery, coffee shops. The larger, I'm not going to call it a box store, but the larger stores that we've been discussing what are the thoughts on that? That's going to be further out into the future. Is that your thinking on that, or?
Well, definitely the ones that have been more, and when I say more short term, that still could be 12, 18, even further along, but most of those have been in the dining category. But the furniture brand is a larger box, larger footprint, that has expressed interest in the area, but they're still evaluating sites.
I'm thinking of a footprint like a Walmart. At that scale, is that still under? What are your thoughts on that, Mike?
So that one grocer, I'm not going to get too far into it because I don't want to give it away, but that's a pseudo big box, and I definitely think there is promise that moving along a little quicker, but still with those big boxes, it does take a little more time because there's a lot more upfront investment on their end going. So
And those are still being pursued.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So I mentioned that we're currently working on the 20 retailers we've identified, but we've also provided 4 replacements. There's no silver bullet when it comes to retail recruitment. There have been some that they've said that they're not interested in expanding right now with competition with Amazon, so we provide you with a different retailer because we want to always be focused on the best companies for College Place. It's not just here's what we're trying to provide you good luck. We're here truly as your partner and want you to be successful. There have been some companies that are actually locating in the town center. So because of that, it's going to be too close in proximity for them to add another location in College Place. So we've also provided a different retailer in place of those as well. So this is an evolving strategy that we're here to continue working through with you as being that staff extender for your team in retail recruitment and retention efforts. Now, our analytics platform, Scout, not only provides you with the resources to help recruitment efforts, but also to help existing businesses, which Mike has done a great job with sharing that information with a lot of existing businesses and has helped some with expansion initiatives and also questions about their general questions about their trade area. So overall, we've provided you, and we're continuing to provide you guys with all of the resources to help new growth plan or proposed developments, help existing businesses, and respond to any threats or opportunities. So if you have a vacancy that comes up, being able to be there and say, okay, what type of square footage of retail may go into that area? What retailer likes to typically locate around existing businesses within the area? If you have a local business that's doing really well and you want to add that next location in College Place, providing them with the insights that are going to help them make that decision to show, okay, between these 3 locations that we were looking at, this location in College Place would be the best for their decision. So we're here to continue to support you to ultimately increase tax revenue, improve quality of life, and help retain business that's here. Now, in understanding how we're supporting the retention side of things, I mentioned we have our online platform that allows insights on demand for local businesses. But we also have a new software that we've just launched called Local Store Marketing Insights. And I'm actually going to show you guys a video that talks a little bit more about that, and then we can get into questions from there.
You always wanted to be your own boss. But nobody said it was going to be easy. Whatever happens, you're the one they call. Whatever needs to be done, that's the hat you're wearing today. You are responsible for everything. But knowing who your customers really are and how to get them to walk in the front door, that's your most important job. LSMX helps you do just that. Powered by Buxton, the industry leader in customer analytics, LSMX lets you know exactly who your customers really are and where you can find others just like them. Then, in the easiest way possible, LSMX allows you to see them, select them, target them. Choose how you want to communicate with them. Craft messages and offers you know they'll be interested in. And push send. It's that easy. For the first time ever, you can identify exactly who your customers are and send them smart, customized messages in minutes. Take control of your market. Take control of your messaging and interactions with your customers. Take control of growing your business. This is the future of marketing at your fingertips. LSMX, powered by Buxton. You always wanted to be your own boss. You always want...
So this is our new business retention tool that we've just launched for our clients and for existing businesses. So we're going to be providing that tool to a subset of businesses within College Place. So really excited that we now have a platform where businesses can see consumer analytics, they can see information for their store, and actually do something about it and reach households that would be best we're going to be targeting to bring in more business. So at this time, I'd love to answer any questions that you may have about our recruitment initiatives, retention initiatives for myself or for Mike.
Questions for Ms. Robinson?
Okay. Well,
Thank you so very much for coming.
thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Kilgore. Talking about wastewater rates for 2018 to 2020.
Okay. This evening I'm going to give a quick recap of the presentation that you've already seen twice, I believe. So I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. It's just going to be a brief overview and then make sure that you see the rates that I'm proposing for consideration tonight. So just to recap the interaction that we've had so far, we did a rate setting workshop on June 13th. Initial results were presented by FCS Group on June 27th. Final results were presented on July 25th. And then tonight we're doing public hearing, and then we have an agenda item later for possible action if you so choose. So basically FCS Group conducted a revenue requirement analysis to begin. They looked at operating costs, capital, cost of treatment, our fiscal policies, and debt that we currently have and that we might have in the future. And then they figured out how much revenue we need to be bringing in to cover all of that to have a healthy and sustainable utility. So this is just a brief overview of the fiscal policies. I'm not going to go over them individually, but these were incorporated in their analysis. They looked at overall a 20-year period for the city and focused on the initial 6-year period as far as going in depth in that time frame. They used the 2017 operating budget as a baseline to project out from there and assumed 1% account growth and looked at our existing debt service, which right now is $683,000 a year. And it's due to roll off in the 4 years, 2019, 21, 22, and then the debt will end in 23 right now, the way it sits. So first I'm going to show you the baseline so that you can see, just without doing anything kind of to finesse it, what we ended up coming up with as necessary increases to rates to cover all these costs. This is the baseline projection. So let's see. The existing residential monthly bill is an average, assuming 9,000 gallons of usage, is $48.49 a month. In order to meet our operating expenses, which you can see right now, they're not. This black line is what we're bringing in right now and projected to bring in. And the blue bars are our operating expenses. The orange bars are our capital project funding that we need to be bringing in. So you can see our black line is quite insufficient. So in order to bring that line up to cover everything up here, in 2018, they projected we would need to raise 22%, then 10% in 19, 5% for the 3 years after that in order to meet expenses. That wasn't very palatable, so we kind of went back to the drawing board. And actually, let me finish here. That was for the operating rate. The debt service rate currently is $16 a month, and what's happened over time is that that $16 was set to cover the debt service at a particular point in time, but over time the debt service has continued to roll off, as it shows that it's doing in these future years. So we're actually bringing in more in the debt and capital rate portion of the rate than what we actually need to sustain the debt. So they didn't recommend any increase in the debt rate in this baseline. Now, like I was beginning to say, a 22% increase isn't very palatable, so we kind of went back to the drawing board and said, okay, if we have this extra debt service and capital revenue coming in and we need more in the operations side, why don't we adjust the debt rate down while the operating rate goes up so that the net increase is less. So what we did is, I'm not going to go through those details, but I will stop here. The baseline increases are shown here, 22, 10, 5, 5, 5. We were able to bring the operating rate increase down to 10, 5, 3, 3, and 3 in the next 6 years. Or 5 years, I guess is what they have pictured there. So, let's see. So you can see here's our black line of existing revenue, and the blue are the operating expenses, orange is the capital. And then this is going to be the revenue after the increase. And then this is adding the amount that we subtract off the debt to the operating portion of the fee, and so you can see it now covers everything that we currently foresee as our costs. And this just shows a picture of the debt fee going down over time. This is just another comparison of the actual effective increases. So while we're proposing raising the operating rate by 10% next year, the effective increase when you transfer the amount from the debt service is only 7.5%. So we're about 7.5% in 18, 3.85% in 19, and then about 2.33% the following 3 years. And then how does this show up on the customer bill? Everything, the operating and the debt service fees are all lumped together in just one number. So our customers won't really even see that, you know, the difference with the debt fee going down and operating going up. To them, it'll just be a net increase of 7.5% next year, if you choose to do that. And then the proposal is to have the new rates and fees effective for the January 1st, 2018 billing cycle. And there's one more component of FCS Group's consulting contract with us, and that is the connection charge analysis, which they will be doing in the months to come, prior to the end of the year. With that, I would take
Questions for Ms. Gilbert? Mr. Dickerson, so have you had time to figure out what the costs and the bill might be raised to cover the upgrade for the sewage treatment plant?
No. Well, I don't know what the status of that is.
We don't have that yet.
Yeah, so just to remind everyone.
Okay, I just know that we're real interested in learning something about that. Because we know that this is just a temporary fix and the other is coming real soon.
Right. And we have consultants working on that currently. It's just not. We're hoping to get these rates adopted in time to be able to build a budget on it, which is underway right now. So I think the assumption is that these rates will be enough to get us in a healthy spot for next year and the year after that and the year after that. The investment in the wastewater treatment plant is going to be a really long-term investment plan. And so we kind of, I guess in my viewpoint is that those large capital investment pieces that we may have coming on with the plant will probably be brought on around the same time the debt is rolling completely off, so that we don't have to really imposition our ratepayers with a huge increase. We can kind of level it out a little bit that way.
Plus, it may be funded from outside sources.
Yes, we may also be able to find some funding from outside sources for that. Yeah.
Mr. Peterson?
So to fund the new facility, would that be a bond issue?
It likely would be,
Okay.
since the Public Works Trust Fund through the state is no longer really a viable option.
Okay.
Yeah, we would most likely be looking at maybe some loans and grants, but I would anticipate at least a portion of it being bonded.
And that could have that bond issuance could have a lifespan of 20 years, 15,
2025.
2025, so you spread it out way into the, okay, thank you.
Commissioner?
When you were going through this process with the FCS group, did you get the same training like you did with water, so in future use you'll be able to do this?
Yes, in fact, they use the exact same model, analysis model, so I'm very comfortable using it now.
Great.
Yeah. And with that, I guess we can...
Other questions for Ms. Vogel? Seeing none, thank you very much. I'd like to open the public hearing for setting wastewater rates for 2018 to 2020. Anyone wishing to testify for or against, please step forward and state your name and address. Once again, anyone wishing to testify for or against setting wastewater rates for 2018-2020, step forward and state your name and address. And one last time, anyone wishing to step forward to testify for or against, please step forward and state your name and address. Seeing none, I would accept a motion to close the public hearing. Been moved by Ms. Nyhagen.
Second.
Been seconded by Mr. Cleveland. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Mr. Ricard, the Christensen-McKiernan annexation.
Good evening. The applicants for this annexation are Craig Christensen and Mike McKiernan and their families. It's roughly 200 acres. The property was brought into our urban growth area back in 2008 through our comp plan amendment back then. It's roughly basically bordered by Majani Road on the north and College Avenue on the east side, and then the fields down on the south, I guess. There's no roads down there. Opney Lane is a private road that's not included in the area. These two, or I should say this rectangular area, there's several properties in there are not. It's kind of hard to see on this map, but they are not part of the annexation area. You can see them better on your exhibit in the ordinance. It shows D, C, A through D basically excluded from that annexation area. And then there's Majani Heights over here that's not part of it as well. And Majani Heights up in this area also is not included. The council at the meeting on July 11th recommended that we include this portion of Majani because it is within our urban growth area, as well as inclusion of the highway SR 125 between our existing city limits, the intersection here at the Walmart, and then down here at College Avenue. Both of those intersections are roughly in our city limits. So kind of have a gap of coverage in that section. The recommended zoning is R60 out in this yellow area, multifamily in this orange area, and general commercial in the pink area. Those coincide with our land use maps that are in our comprehensive plan. So those are appropriate zoning designations for those areas. We notified the public. There was a notice published in the Union Bulletin on the 25th, and mailings went out to about 79 surrounding property owners within 200 feet of the annexation area. Did receive 2 comment letters this evening before close of business. One from Mark Howard representing Marlon Howard of 2076 McMinn Road. It would be so here's the highway annexation. It would be this triangular one right here. That is 2076 McMinn Road. And the copies are provided in your packets of the letter, and they're in opposition of the highway annexation. And I think reading through it and having conversations with Mr. Howard, that there was, maybe they were under the impression that they were a part of and were being annexed as part of this. And I tried to clear that up as best as possible, but there still seemed to be some confusion on that. But all of the properties south of the highway are not included in this annexation. They're not in our urban growth area presently. The second letter that I received this afternoon was from Washington State Department of Transportation in regards to the property they own there. They're not in opposition to it. They just wanted to remind us that it's their property. They still dictate the speeds through there and signage and things of that nature. I think I have covered everything that I need to. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Mr. Dickerson.
Explain the highway right-of-way and our involvement to the east of the rectangular trapezoid red area. Yeah.
So this area here was probably about 300 or 400 feet southwest of the Meadowbrook intersection. This is all in our city limits. It stops roughly at where the ball fields start at the school, and then transitions into the county, and then it jumps back into the city of College Place at this point here.
So this is just a continuation of the same policy
Right,
that we've had. So what about Majornia Road? What was the reasoning for staying on the south side of Majornia?
Well, go back up to that. It's kind of hard to see on this map, but Majornia was not included in our urban growth area. It's kind of an oversight. That'll likely be an application through this comp plan amendment to take that into our urban growth area. That way, when development does occur out in this area, we can make sure that Majornia Road is improved to city standards with curb gutter sidewalk. So that'll be probably a city application at a later date.
Ms. Selby.
I have 2 questions. The first one I think you may have answered last time. So this rectangle that's kind of floating, that doesn't seem to fit with anything on the ground, what is that?
That's where Mr. Christensen's residency is, I believe, and I think it's in a configuration like that. Probably has to do with taxation purposes.
So is this property lines?
Yeah.
Okay. But inside and outside of that rectangle are all included in the annexation?
Yes. Yeah, when I was in our GIS system, I highlighted the parts that were included.
Okay. And my second question is, so part of the reason for the annexation of the highway is to make it jurisdiction clear for our police force, is that correct?
That's one thing. It's a jurisdictional kind of boundary cleanup. It's in our urban growth area. It doesn't really make sense to go out into the counties and back into the city and then back into the county in such a short stretch.
Thank you.
Mr. Cleveland.
Yeah, just one point of clarification. As I recall in the previous discussions about this, you mentioned, like, for example, if there is an accident along that corridor, that's where the jurisdiction question would come on. It's like, well, do we need to call the county police out here? Is this in our jurisdiction?
Yeah.
That was kind of the confusion caused by that.
We have joint response in most instances, and the chief can probably speak to this better than I can. But we have serious issues down here. which is not part of the annexation because our city limit line basically goes to the middle of the intersection. So, I mean, that's something we need to address at a later date as well.
Other questions?
So this is a public hearing. So.
Thank you very much, Mr. Torrey. I'd like to open the public hearing on the Christensen-McKiernan annexation. Anybody wishing to testify for or against the annexation, please step forward, state your name and address.
Hello. I'm Al Lang. I live at 1581 Summit Place, Walla. That's right on the edge of Madonna Road. I'd like to make a few comments. First of all, I want to thank the McKernans and the Christensens for the great landscaping view we've enjoyed over the many years. In fact, if it weren't for the view and that environment, many of us would have stayed in your fair city instead of moving out to Majorna. So it's been a pleasure being there, and thank you very much. We've enjoyed living there immensely. Then I would like to raise, though, an issue, point or two. We have a great community along Majorna, and couldn't ask for more. I would hope that whatever happens in the development will enhance the spirit of the community. That, one way that might occur is if, as the development moves towards Majorna, that those parties or neighbors that are affected most directly, that they have an opportunity for some dialogue with the development process that takes place. I think the development has the opportunity to either enhance the community spirit or go the other way. Point number 3. Many of us along Majorna, we're concerned with the development here and the city on the other end of us, that will get pressure from the city, that our little area in between might be swept into the city. I just want to express my concern about that, and as far as I know, most of us are saying, leave us alone. We want to stay where we're at. So, and my last concern is, and you alluded to it some, the traffic along Majorna, both foot traffic and car traffic has increased greatly in the last few years. And I'm curious, I hope in the development that that's taken into consideration as the development goes forward. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Anyone else wishing to testify for or against the annexation, please step forward and state your name and address. If I would ask the audience, please do not applaud or boo in any particular statement. They're addressing the College Place City Council, and we'll take those comments into consideration as the council goes forward.
Bruce Cole, and it's 280 Majorna. On College Avenue and at the end of the property are two very different places in the valley. I wish that it could go a little slower and have more information about how this is going to go. Some of us are very used to living out there, and the thought of having it change greatly without being able to push in or put our part in is not happy. This is a big change for us. We don't particularly want to go back into College Place, and we would like to have some control about how it goes and be able to have say. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to testify for or against the annexation, please step forward and state your name and address.
I'm Beverly Thompson at 26 Majorna Place. In about the year 2001, my husband and I decided to build our dream retirement home. But he told me I had to find a property that he had to approve. It took me a year and a half to find that property, and it is my prized property at this address. This is adjacent to the annexation property. And I must say, our view is spectacular. And we have an environmentally protected creek at the bottom of our hill. And I've enjoyed living there as long as I have been. And when I think about the zoning of this new property coming in, my view is going to be obscured to the blues. And who knows what's going to be at the bottom of the hill on the south side of that. I have a lot of scary feelings within my heart. And I have talked with my neighbors, and Lori Rickard at the end of the cul-de-sac there, she was not able to come tonight, and so we quickly got our P's and Q's together, and she said, can you take my request? I said, I can take it and see what I can do, but I have my request and her request here to please, if possible, leave things the way they are.
If you would give those to Mr. Rizzatello, he'll make a copy for the council's consideration. Thank you. Anyone else wishing to testify for or against the annexation, please step forward and state your name and address.
My name is Cheryl Horn. I'm at 312 Majonia Road. Been there for 20 years. And first I want to say that the Christensen and the McKiernans have been excellent neighbors across the road. We have enjoyed the view for many years. And I would also like to just put in my agreement with the Coles and Langs regarding some of the issues that we have concerns about, specifically traffic, also, the view. And I just hope that also we would have some consideration if this does go through with some of the planning that does go into that piece of property. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing?
Yes, my name is Jerome Lyons. I live on 901 Southwest Valley, right below Majonia Road. I hear you talk about sidewalks and stuff like this. And is the road going to be widened?
Sir, this is not a question and answer period.
Oh, it is?
No, it is not. This is something you can testify for or against, but it's not a
I'm just
discussion.
curious about that, so when do you do that?
Well, that would be talking with the planning staff at a time when that is in part of the city limits or part of their open growth plan.
Okay. All right. So we notified about that when that time comes about?
Yes.
The planning process is, there will be similar notifications and hearings for whatever development proposals that the property owner makes. And so the city always encourages the developers to reach out well in advance to property owners and let them know what their plans are. But yes, we factor in roads and such, and so.
Okay, so I guess I shouldn't ask any more questions.
It's for or against, but
Thank you.
not an exchange.
No, I'm for it, but I want to know what's going to impact on us, other people. So, thank you.
Hello, my name is Melissa Bennett. I live at 361 Majonia Road, and I am also concerned about the city surrounding our area and getting some pressure to be annexed into the city. Just based on the presentation here tonight, I did some quick figures, and I recently had to have my septic system pumped. That cost me approximately $300. I would spend in 5 months on wastewater what I spend every 5 years on my septic. I don't pay for water, I have a well. This would be a significant financial burden to my family, and I am against it.
Thank you. for a second time. Anyone wishing to testify for or against the Kieran Christensen annexation, please step forward and state your name and address.
I'm Jason Majani, at 400 Majani Road. I'm also against this as part for all the reasons that everyone else has done. I don't think anybody expects the growth to not happen. We just hope that it happens responsibly and sustainably. I'm curious and wondering if this is developed, one, where are these people coming from, two, where are we going to put them? We've got 2 new schools that are at or near capacity already. I find it hard to believe that you're going to get this committee to pass another bond for another school. And the traffic issue is going to be next. We're already getting pressure from the Hayden Homes development outlet coming up parents. So I imagine that's going to be quite a problem. So anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
And a third and final time, anyone wishing to testify for or against the Kieran Christensen annexation, please step forward and state your name and address. Seeing no one, is there a motion to close the public hearing? So moved. It's been moved by Mr. Dickerson. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been seconded by Mr. Peterson. Any further discussion?
If this is a time for discussion about the subject,
Well, you remember we're going to have an action item again at the next part of the action items, so we can do it now or we can do it later.
well, I just want to make sure that council has an opportunity to address some of the public's questions, and I think we will.
Did I make that motion?
Well, we can have a discussion. Well, you don't even need a motion.
Since we're just fresh on
That's
this.
what.
Okay. The reason I asked about the annexation of the Majania Road, which side would be annexing to, because it does make a difference as to ingress, egress, so forth for traffic. And the way I understand it now is if it stays on the south side of Majania Road, the annexation, then we're not going to have we're not going to have access onto Majania Road from this property.
I wouldn't necessarily say that their access would be limited, but the design standards could be different. They could be more of a county design standard, road standard. But we're not there yet.
Sure, I understand, but during the planning process, the development's going to make sure that access is from the south side to all the properties that border Majania Road, right?
I can't make any predictions on what the application is going to, how that's going to fold out, what they're going to propose for access.
And that'll be up to the council, of course.
Well, it'll be up to the developer to make a proposal on how they want their property to...
And then the other thing is...
And engineering standards and
well, sure.
Of that nature.
But we'll have a chance to accept, reject, or modify the designs.
The hearing process for subdivisions and PUDs goes through the hearings examiner. You do have final plat authority, but the hearing process is before our hearings examiner.
Sure, and then the last thing is there's no danger of any of those properties in that island that these people are referring to of being annexed or taken in through the 60%.
Staff is in discussions about areas that we would like to expand our UGA, and the Majania Heights area has not come into those discussions.
Yeah, so there's no danger of properties being brought into the city in that area.
I don't believe that there will be a proposal for that.
Mr. Peterson?
2 quick questions. The areas that we are not under consideration for annexation, those are all on private septic systems for each house?
That's my understanding, but the city doesn't serve them with any utilities.
So a failure of any of those could be extremely expensive for that homeowner to replace?
Yeah, they can be.
Potentially, that's what we've seen in the past. Yeah. Second thing, Majania, if My experience with Majon, my personal experience with Majon here in the last 5 years is that there's been a lot of, I would say, fast-moving vehicles on that road. If College Place down, we're looking down the road, that speed limit now is set by the county, is that correct?
Yes.
And so there would be the possibility to perhaps look at the speed rates on that road in the future, obviously, if that's part of just the Majonia Road section, and if that was part of College Place. Yeah, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Mr. Cleveland?
I think Larry kind of asked my question. I just wanted clarification. But again, north of Majonia, that side is outside the urban growth area, cannot be annexed at this point. It is not under consideration for annex.
Correct.
My other question is that when someone is annexed, and typically the policy has been that people are annexed by their request, right?
I've been processing annexations for the 13 years I've been here, and to my recollection, all of them have been via application by the property owner. But it's, we've had islands that we've created out of Southwest 12th, the Toretta property. They didn't want to be in the city, so we just went around them. So that's been the council's, the last 13 years, that's been their record of not forcing annexations.
Sorry. I guess I can't count today, but one last thing here is that if someone did annex, are they allowed to continue using their own private well and septic system, or are they required to connect utilities?
They are not required to connect to city utilities unless there's a failure and there is sewer or water within there's a state law that requires connection if they're within a certain distance.
Okay, thank you.
So maybe that brings up another question. Maybe this would be for Robert or Paul. But in the planning process of annexation, you got to consider infrastructure and future planning. Are there any plans for bringing water and sewer and other utilities through Majonia Road?
There may be utilities up there. It depends on the development and how that all works out. The biggest issue is getting sewer to that area. Everything goes kind of to the southwest.
And as you know, we always have people that request to hook up when an area is annexed because their systems fail and they don't have any choice.
That's
so my question is if the infrastructure is going to be brought down the road, or if they're going to have to cross the road to hook up if they fail in the future sometime and want to hook up.
There are a good example is up off of Blaylock. That subdivision is north of the tracks there. When the sewer went down Blaylock, the properties were stubbed in anticipation so that there would, we didn't have to tear up the roads. We required that of the developer, so that's always that's something we'll factor in. I can't say that we will do it, but that's something we'll factor in.
Just kind of as a courtesy.
Yes.
Any further discussion? It's been moved and seconded. All in favor, please signify by saying aye for closing the public hearing.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Hearing is closed. Action items. Ms. Kilgore, wastewater rates from 2018 to 2020.
I'm not going to rehash it.
Tell us again.
Oh, come on.
But I am here before you this evening at this juncture to ask for your consideration in actually implementing the proposed rates from the consulting project that we had done for our wastewater utilities, with an implementation date of January 1st, 2018. And sorry, I'm looking for my notes. The increases would be 10% to the operating portion of the rate in 2018, 5% in 2019, and 3% in 2020, with a decrease in the debt and capital fee as outlined in the resolution that you have in your packet, Resolution 17-027. And also, there's this little spreadsheet I did that shows you what the single-family residential rates would be. Are there any questions?
Mr. Dickerson.
Just like to make a comment. Probably for the last 15 years, we've always encouraged administration not to propose raising rates enormously, but in small increments. If we see a large increment here at the beginning and then kind of go back to a smaller increment, it's because we haven't done so in the last 15 years and kept up with our needs.
That's correct. We haven't even looked at wastewater rates since 2011. So it's been 6 years since we really even studied them at all. And I believe at that time the change was a transfer between, similar to what we're doing now, a transfer between the debt service rate and the operating rate. And so I don't believe there was an increase at that time either. So it has been a long, good run of no increases.
And so after this first year of larger increases, within 2 years afterwards, we'll be back to a normal 1 or 2 or 3%.
According to the plan that they have laid out for us now, with the information that we have now, yes, that is the case. Now, whether or not that changes with wastewater treatment plant upgrades or improvements in the future, I can't speak to that right now, but the proposition for now is, yes, the third year this will be down to 3%, and then it's just a flat 3%.
Yeah, and of course these kind of increases are different than a substantial increase to pay for a upgrade.
This study was conducted because we are currently operating in the red in the sewer utility, and we need to change that. It's not sustainable right now.
Ms. Selby.
I would like to make a motion that we approve Resolution 17-027, adopting the proposed wastewater rates as presented for fiscal years 2018 to 2020, with implementation for the January 2018 billing cycle.
Second.
Oh, man!
It's moved by Ms. Selby. I think it was seconded by Mr. Bobbin.
Yeah, I think Jerry beat us all out.
We'll have to call a quick draw.
Just be glad Barbara Clark isn't on the council.
Is there any further discussion?
Thank you for all your work, Sarah.
Thank you.
Yes, this has been a really good job.
Yes. Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Kilgore.
I think since we all seconded it, we're good.
Mr. Ricard, Christensen McKiernan annexation.
Any questions? Further discussion?
I do have a question because I'm looking at my agenda. Let's see here. Okay, I see it.
Is there a question?
Oh no, I was just I was on the public hearing and I didn't see it on the agenda, and so I had to scroll down to find it.
Questions for Mr. Ricard? Ms. Selby.
I think we went over this, but I just want to make sure it's absolutely clear that all of the land that we are annexing is either owned by the state or owned by somebody who wants to be annexed?
Correct. So, well, there's also the county right of way.
Oh, is it county?
John, but
Okay.
SR 125, and you can see that in their letter that they submitted this afternoon, they are the owners of it, not objecting to annexation of it, just an urban area. And the 199 plus odd acres is owned by the
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Peterson.
I make a motion to approve ordinance 17032, annexing certain property located in the southwest corner of Merson Road and South College Avenue, and establishing the zoning and assumption of a debt.
I'll second.
It's been moved by Mr. Peterson, seconded by Mr. Cleveland. Any further discussion?
This is about the annexation.
Yes. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
No.
So it's Ms. Nyhagen opposes, remainder of the council consents, motion passes. Thank you, Mr.
Thanks.
Ms. Doring.
I'm here tonight to present Agenda Bills 17183, asking that you approve Ordinance 17-034. In the budget, there was a water utility 2 position that has been vacant for 2017. In trying to fill that position, we noticed that the water utility 1 position was not on the salary ordinance, and the person that we're interested in hiring doesn't qualify for the water utility 2 position, so we need to have the water utility 1 position hopefully put back on the salary ordinance.
Questions from Ms. Doring?
I'll make a motion to approve the updated salary ordinance number 17-034 to add water utility 1 position to the
It's been moved by Ms. Sherman. Is there a second?
Second.
It's seconded by Ms. Selby. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Chief Damaris, Public School Resource Officer.
Council members, Mayor. So something I've been working on since I got here, and follow up with Mr. Fellow and also the school superintendent Tim Kane, Public Schools Superintendent. We're looking to implement a school resource officer for the high school. And so just to, we're actually recommendation to approve an addition of a police officer. And we're in contract negotiations right now with the school district to do that. We'll be sharing the cost of that equally. I think it would be a good thing for our community. College Place is amongst a list of high needs communities with higher than normal opioid use by our youth. Additionally, our schools have seen an influx in gang association. And finally, on June 8th, as you know, we experienced a horrific attack on the principal there by 2 high school students. So I believe there is a real need for it in our community. Now, having said all that, we are also having some staffing challenges. So whether we can implement this immediately in September or not, that's remains to be seen. We have to fill some spots to get that done. But anyhow, I request that we be allowed to move forward to negotiate that contract and complete that.
Mr. Peterson.
This when I read through this, and I think you may have explained this to me in the past, I apologize if you did. This is an officer, what percentage of his time will he be, will this person be spending at the schools?
Probably about 90% of the time.
Okay. So in the condition that we have now in College Place where we would like to have more police coverage, is this is in addition to your force?
This would be in addition, so there'd be another officer coming in to supplement this position. So that's some of the staffing challenges I have in order to make this full time. So yes, so the school district will offset that financially.
But this officer would be available where you need 2 or 3 officers in the middle of the day you could call this person and have them respond?
They could for emergency reasons, and that's in the contract as well, yes. And then also during school breaks, special events, if we have snow day emergencies, if I have to call him to use him for a more emergent need, I can do that.
And like summer break for the schools, this
Yes,
is...
they would still, they would, like summertime, they would spend the majority of the time, that's that 10%, they spend the majority of the time answering calls for service.
Okay.
So I think it's a win-win for the community, they really do.
I don't so much have a question as I talked to my mole in the high school, my student that goes there, and what he said, because I said, so what do you think about this? And he said, I think it's a great idea if you get the right person. And what he suggested is this person will spend as much time mentoring as anything else. So he said, find someone that's going to be a good mentor to the kids and someone who's experienced in dealing with kids who are having bad days.
Sure. Yeah, that's great. So we have one right now. We have one applicant that's interested. And if you remember a month or so ago when I played that video of that person, the officer dancing, that was Officer Langlos, and he's the one who's put in for that position. He will still have to go through an interview process with the school district and make sure that's all vetted out. But I think he is a strong applicant.
Great.
Ms. Sherman?
Yeah, I had a conversation with Tim Payne last month, and we were talking about how since Al Schneidmiller resigned, there hasn't been someone. Al did the DARE program back when I was in school in the dark ages, Mrs. Lang remembers. And since then, there hasn't been that presence, and I didn't realize that was just, that didn't really exist. So I think, I mean, even if it's not the DARE program, just to have that presence that people know that this officers, someone that can help them or just be there and just to get to know the role, I think it's really, really valuable.
And that position will assist with some curriculum. There'll be some things that we'll be proposing on the schools, and that includes drug awareness, that includes traffic safety awareness, in addition to providing a presence and a deterrence. So that officer will be involved in the classrooms quite a bit.
Great.
Mr. Peterson?
One other quick question. I think I brought it up in the past. This officer's exposure to the schools will be random?
So, yes, well, the primary school will be the high school, but they will also spend time at the middle school, which is connected, and then of course from time to time at the elementary school, and we'll be working closely with Tim Payne to do that.
Yeah, and my issue obviously is that if, obviously there's not a set schedule, and so the randomness of this officer showing up at a school, obviously the benefits for safety, and which is odd.
They'll work school hours, so they'll have a set schedule within that hours, but they will randomly show up.
Yeah.
Good.
Mr. Dickerson? This is a shared expense, and we have a kind of a mutual agreement and so forth. I read through the contract, and could you just kind of add to what the obligations are on which entity has the right to let him go or keep him on, or how this works? And for what length of period of time?
So you're talking about whether it's my choice or the school district's choice to remove the employee?
If someone decides they want out of the contract, or if they want to cut,
that's mutual. There has to be a notification presented within 30 days. Either the school district or the city can provide that notification to either party.
And do both parties have to agree?
Nope.
So one person can be out. Okay. So what'll happen then if that happens?
Well, the officer would be absorbed into our workforce, and then we would continue in that direction. Yeah. I feel really good about a long-term commitment. We've established an excellent relationship with the school district and Mr. Payne, and I feel like this is a good thing for the community, and I have a sense from the school district that they also think it's a good thing for them.
It sounds like a win-win situation and a long-term plan.
Yeah, so we have work to do. We have to, we're currently working on our staffing, as you all know, and there's some things that we're doing to to make sure that this happens, the sooner the better, and I'm doing everything I can to get them in there as fast as possible.
Sure.
One quick question. The school district has offered to pay 50/50 of the costs, and is that an ongoing thing as long as the position exists? So there's like a 4-year thing, and then we have to figure it out?
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
There is no expiration on it. It's just going to be an ongoing agreement, and if there's issues or costs that come up, or those things can be brought up. The school could lose money. They could lose levy money. We could lose money. Just whatever the situation is, we leave it open for that reason there along. So.
I'd like to make a motion to authorize execution of the contract with a correction to Tim Payne's spelling of his name for SRO services to the College Place Public School District.
Second. It's been moved by Ms. Sherman, seconded by Ms. Nyhagen. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously.
Thank you.
Mr. Hartwig, sewer main line.
We have a lot of old sewer main in our city, and unfortunately a lot of that is not in accessible places. What I'm coming here today is to ask for approval for an emergency contract with a sewer lining company to line a sewer main that is in the backyards of houses on First Street and houses on West Wick. So it'll go from about here down to here and then down to First Street. This flow goes into lift station number 5. The reason this is really getting to be a problem is because this house right there has had numerous backups. She's put in a backflow device, but that doesn't necessarily keep backflow out of her house. And the other problem is she's an older single lady, and she may not go in the basement for a while, and if she's using the water upstairs, it goes down. If we got a blockage in the main, then it goes out, and it's in her basement. This has got, as you can see right in here, several trees, some pine and some maples. Back years ago in early 80s, we replaced the line from here. I and the crew replaced this line. So this would help get rid of the problem area here. We just experienced a backup at her place. Insurance is dealing with her right now on the potential claim there. And so we're trying to address this problem and not have that happen or occur as frequently as it does now. So we are asking for permission to have an emergency declaration to line this sewer line, approximately 600 feet of sewer line, to not to exceed $50,000 to Columbia Pumping and Construction.
Mr. Dickerson,
questions? I was just going to make a motion. If you have questions.
I don't have a question.
I might have a question here. I'm wondering, how long-term of a solution is this?
Yeah.
This would be, the lining itself is stronger than the pipe that we're lining. So they'll go in, there'll be a fiberglass lining, they'll line it, so you're going to lose about a ½ an inch on your flow line of your pipe. And then they go in after the lining's in, and then they cut the holes in the laterals, and it'll last a long time. We've also got roots, not only roots, but we got inflow, so we're getting groundwater coming in as well, which is just more stuff for us to treat. This will keep it out. And then with the concrete pipe, it allows for more grease to collect it as well. And we have a lot of that problem as well.
Before Councilman Dickerson makes his motion, does the city have liability in these situations where there's backflow? And so this This potentially is an offset to future costs to the city, correct?
Yeah, this person has had backups that she's been affected at least 4 times, and now they're getting more frequent.
Okay.
So this is like a 10-year solution, 15 years?
No, I would say this is going to be 20 to 30 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ms. Sullivan?
Well, I would just like to comment that this type of lining, not only is it stronger than the pipe, but it's also much more difficult for roots or anything to get in, and it's much more slippery, so it's much less likely to clog and much easier to get cleaned out. So this is an excellent solution.
And there's less impact,
Yes.
This section that right here that we did in the mid-'80s, we dug it with a backhoe. And as a matter of fact, right here, we were under the garage, under the side of the garage to replace that. This lining eliminates all of that. And so they TV'd it, they figured they didn't have no problem with the lining, they'll just have to clean it and thoroughly clean it, so forth.
Length of time that the process will take.
I'll get in touch with him tomorrow, see what,
Oh, but how long do they think that it's going to take to actually do it?
the lining shouldn't take that long. That goes pretty fast. We did, just for background information, on the CARS project, we lined the sewer main from Sunny Drive down to about the south boundary of Dan's Line property. That took them about 3 days.
Is there a motion?
I move we approve an emergency sewer main lining in the amount not to exceed $50,000 to the Columbia Convenience Construction.
It's been moved by Ms. Knight.
I yield to others who have not had a chance.
Are you going to second, Larry?
I said I yield to others who have not had a
We've
chance.
all done it.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been seconded by Ms. Sherman. Any further discussion?
Well, I love that that's what we argue about, not the other stuff.
Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign?
You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Motion passes unanimously, just for everybody else's benefit. Ms. Sherman said she loves the fact that we argue about who gets to make motions.
Yes. Not the other stuff.
Not the other stuff. Mr. Rizzatello.
Thank you, Mayor. So this last item, I got back with Zoomer, which is the company I was working with, to see if they could make some tweaks to the sign examples that the council requested the last meeting, and they were nice enough to do so. So in the wayfinding mock-up drawing, they basically got rid of the arched top part of the sign that had the logo, changed it to the bluish, dark bluish, greenish color, such as what was in the wayfinding plan, and then brought in the CP logo, which was in the regional wayfinding plan. That would be mounted on the pole. So they did that drawing. They're nice enough to do that. I checked with some other sign purveyors who make this sort of street sign. They were still the cheapest. So what's before you is if council likes how this looks, we would start working on putting up the signs along the city roadways. Roadways such as State Route 125, that's a fun, interesting process through State Department of Transportation, and it takes a little while, so that we are working on that, but I don't want to hold up the whole thing. While we do have city streets, we could be doing this on. As I said the last go-around, the wayfinding map that was discussed at length during the Rural Community Design Initiative community workshops we had a couple months ago, and then the Economic Development Commission has been consulted on the nomenclature for business districts and landmarks, so that's where that all came about.
Questions for Mr. Rizzatello?
I could go through and count these, but how many signs are we looking at doing?
For this go around, it's 36.
And that's what's on the map. And then, and what's the timeline
for if it's approved and we order, when do we get them, when this passes?
Well, the 36 signs, that's not including those state highway signs. This is just the city signs. So typically, once they're ordered, it usually takes Zoomar about a month or so to draw up the prototypes. Then it usually takes like about 3 days for us to proofread it, make sure it's proper. And then typically they send out in another month. They're very quick. So.
Mr. Peterson and then Mr. Dickerson.
Well, maybe.
Same question.
Can we see what the sign looks like?
It's the mock-up.
Well,
Did it not go? They look better on my laptop at home.
maybe yeah, it's,
Yeah, at home it was like maybe.
what am I missing here? So, I see the letters.
Yeah.
And then there was this color on another.
But I'm sorry, it's late.
Yeah.
Is it this way? Is it that way? How does this? What does the sign look like?
It's mounted on a pole.
It's mounted on a pole.
It's not on a pole, but
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Am I
So
missing
with the
something?
logo? Are you asking how the logo's connected?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So the medallion would go further down on the pole below the sign, and that reflects what was done in that regional wayfinding plan. So that regional document that was presented the last go around, that had it where you had the sign on top, the medallion on the pole. And my interpretation from what sounded like council wanted me to explore was to basically lop off that arched part that they had on the original sign that had the city logo on top, and instead look at putting the medallion on the sign pole itself below the sign.
So the arch gone, square sign with the medallion below it.
Kind of like this one here, only be on our light poles. So there's a medallion.
Well,
we'll have right?
Well, in most cases it'd actually be on its own poles. So, yeah, it'd be on its own poles because the light poles can't really support the extra weight of the signs, and we figure out the location so it'd be used sparingly. But
so the second one in it'd be like that with a flat top, correct?
Yeah, flat top and then medallion below the said sign.
Okay.
Those are nice. Will there be some gold?
Huh?
Will there be some gold on the perimeter?
On the perimeter of the medallion piece and the sign, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
Yeah, I was trying to get as much work out of them without having to pay for it, so that's what you see.
Always a good one.
Gold flake.
I move we authorize the city administrator to enter into contract with Zoomar Industries for 36 vehicular directional wayfinding signs.
I'll second.
Moved by Ms. Selby, seconded by Mr. Cleveland. Any further discussion? I just want to thank Mike for initiating this and bringing it to us, because I think these are important items, especially as population, traffic increases, new roads are in, and it's being very helpful. Ms. Selby.
I was talking with someone today who lives in Milton Free Water and drives to Walla Walla every day for work, and she said, "Are there any restaurants in College Place? We always just zoom right by." And I'm like, "Oh, we have some really good restaurants." But so I would encourage, let's work on the 125 signs.
Yes. And we're definitely in conversation with them. I'm just trying to get out ahead of this because I remember when I was in Colfax, it took a while to get the state to finally buy off on it. So no reason holding up the rest of the project.
Further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Any further business from the council?
I'd just like to say we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Above the fold on your very own section.
Thank you.
Which day was it?
Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
And on that note,
Will you sign ours?
on that note, I will motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's been moved by Mr. Cleveland, seconded by Ms. Sherman. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much for being ladies and gentlemen.